Donald Trump's latest blast at NATO, in which he all but invited Russia to attack underspending allies, is more than just political theater. It's a direct threat to the global mining industry and the resource supply chains that underpin everything from energy transition to national defense. If Trump's rhetoric ever translates into policy, the fallout for critical mineral security, investment stability, and global supply chains would be catastrophic. The mining sector thrives on predictability, whether it's copper, nickel, or rare earths. Long-term investments in exploration, development, and production rely on stable geopolitical environments and clear diplomatic frameworks. NATO, flawed as it may be, has provided exactly that for over 70 years, a military and political backstop that ensures Europe, and by extension global trade routes, remain relatively secure. By threatening to withdraw American support for NATO, Trump introduces a new layer of geopolitical risk that sends a clear message to investors and mining companies. The West can no longer guarantee its own security, let alone the stability of the flow of resources. That uncertainty drives up investment risk, raises the cost of capital, and could make projects in already challenging jurisdictions even less viable. Let's not forget, the very countries Trump is casually throwing under the Russian bus are some of the most important players in the critical minerals race. Germany, for example, is a central hub for refining and processing industrial metals. The Nordic countries, especially Finland and Sweden, are emerging leaders in ethical, low-carbon mining of key battery minerals like lithium and nickel. These European countries aren't just allies, they're partners in building secure supply chains that Western economies desperately need to break free from China's stranglehold on processing. A weakened NATO weakens Europe's ability to stand up to Russian or Chinese resource aggression. In an environment where military and economic security are increasingly intertwined, sanctions, resource blockades, and critical mineral hoarding, NATO's collapse would hand authoritarian regimes like Russia and China an even larger advantage. That's not just bad news for Europe, that's bad news for every mining CEO trying to secure long-term contracts with reliable partners. Now, let's talk about Russia itself. Trump's apparent willingness to greenlight Russian aggression in Europe isn't just a military issue, it's a direct invitation for Moscow to weaponize its own resource dominance. Russia is a top producer of nickel, palladium, platinum, and uranium. It's also a critical energy supplier, especially to Europe. If Trump emboldens Russia to destabilize Eastern Europe or even carve off parts of resource-rich regions, the entire global mining supply chain faces a nightmare scenario. Sanctions, trade disruptions, and resource nationalism ramping up to Cold War levels. The 2022 invasion of Ukraine gave us a direct taste of this, with nickel prices spiking and palladium supplies tightening. But a wider destabilization of NATO's eastern flank would make that look tame by comparison. Joseph Schaffhausen, my independent commentary for Skillings Mining Review.